So in December of this past year, I received a diagnosis of stage 4 lung cancer, which was pretty shocking.
Yeah.
Considering I've been pretty healthy my whole life, and took us by surprise.
My favorite thing about Rob is just his love for people, and he's kind of like a silent lover. You know, you're used to me being very in your face and out there and just telling people I love them. Rob was kind of a behind the scenes kind of lover.
He is what you would want as a volunteer on your ministry team. I remember one time he was helping me out, like building up the student ministry worship team. And there were some students on the team that didn't even have headphones. And I didn't know this, but they had like bonded with Rob. And I remember the next week when we came to rehearsal, he showed up with new headphones for them. And I saw him, he didn't tell me, but I saw him giving them those new headphones. And they were so excited. And it was just little things like that you just want your volunteers to be. He went above and beyond. He reached out and cared for those teens, and he did that on the adult stage as well. Anytime someone needed something, whether it was like dialing in their pedal board or tweaking their guitar or learning how to play new chords, he was always right there to help, and he loved doing that.
Rob was diagnosed with cancer in December and then started treatments. So COVID, he was about 3 months into chemotherapy when COVID hit. So at first we're like, this is no big deal. But then as more and more came out, it's like COVID is going to be really, really bad for people who have compromised lungs. And COVID's really bad for people who are going through chemotherapy. Rob is both of those things.
I remember we had to have a conversation. It was a difficult conversation about whether or not he should be serving during the pandemic. And that was really hard because that was definitely one of the things that brought him life and brought him joy. And so he was willing to do whatever we thought best. But if we were going to allow him, and it was us allowing him, he was going to be here.
It was phenomenal. Gave him, I think, a reason to get up and keep working at something, gave him a distraction from his illness. And he just did it with such grace.
He used his platform as a way to show people Jesus, to show them that I don't feel good and my life kind of sucks right now, but I'm going to stand up here because that's what I love to do and that's what I'm meant to do. And we can see now, maybe not then, but now people that were impacted by just seeing Rob, by just Rob showing up.
Behind the scenes, it was hard for Rob. Rob was emotional. Rob was aware that his time was limited and he wanted to spend his time doing what he loved. But it was something that not everybody was aware of, the severity of, Rob might be looking good these days and having good moments. The truth is it's just a good day. It wasn't easy. Lots of other people on the worship team came alongside of him and would carry his gear for him or, set up his guitar or carry it back to the car for him because he physically could not breathe. And getting to the platform, that little spot on the stage was almost, would do him in. So I remember the night of worship we had in February, Rob got to be on the team, and that was amazing. I got to worship next to him. The emotion that was just inside of me and Rob is just indescribable because he should not have been standing there. He barely could stand there and breathe, let alone play a guitar, let alone sing. It was the night before a chemo treatment. It was the night before we heard results on if chemo was working for Rob. It did not feel good for him to do that, but he chose to be in that place. And we talked about it often. We worshiped literally while we waited. It was the week hospice was called for Rob. The week we brought him home, that I was like, okay, this is real. So I just kind of thought, what good can come from this young man's life. And the only thing I could think of was people finding hope.
I was really anxious going into it because I knew it was going to be really difficult, and emotions were obviously high. But that night ended up being something that I can look back on that gives me peace. And it was just really good. Someone said that was in the room said that it felt like Rob was on stage with us, and it did feel like that from the stage as well. Just the energy, the emotions. I just know that he would have been so happy to be there, and he was there. And so the night was so special because I felt like it honored him in the best way that we possibly could, and that's worship. That's what he loved to do.
I asked the worship team to go all out. Don't hold back. Don't stand still. However you feel like God is moving, please move. I asked them to turn it up. Let's have some fun while we worship.
There was an expectation there before we even started, because everybody just knew that they were just going to sing and play their faces off. And, you know, that's all we could do for Rob, and that's all we could do for Jerica and the family, and by golly, we were going to do it. And so we just went in there with that expectation, and we started just letting it pour out, and the room fed it back even louder. To this day, it was just the most amazing event.
We wanted hope to be shared, and I believe it was. We wanted Rob to be honored, and he was. We wanted Rob's guitar to be played, and it was. And gosh, as I sat, I can't even look at the chair in the worship center of Whitewater that I sat in, because I can feel it again. I can feel Rob's family on my side. I can feel my family on my side. I can feel his friends circling the family that have had a relationship with Jesus but maybe strayed away, family who don't even know who Jesus is, and just begging God in that moment to take this terrible situation and make good come from it. Begging him to do that, because that's the only way I can make sense of this whole thing. And that is my daily reminder that if any tiny bit of good can come from it, then it won't feel like it now, but at one day it will be worth it. Not worth it, but it will make a little more sense. But our little minds can't make sense out of things that God can.
Humphries family. Pretty awesome.
I felt so grateful to see a young teenage girl decide to give her life to Jesus. You know, she was there for the youth stuff going on, but I think because we made that available during Rob's service, they knew like that's an option for us. We can be baptized tonight if we want to be, maybe because there's like a funeral going on, but like baptisms are welcome. I think that I felt so grateful, and I just prayed over and over, God, be with this woman, protect her. I just said, Rob, look what you're doing. This hour dedicated to you, this 2 hours dedicated to you, someone's giving their life to Jesus. So it was just gratitude. And I said to God, I can't wait to see you keep doing this.